So in terms of what position I think will finish in the table, I'm going to go with first. I think Doncaster Rovers are in for a very, very, very exciting season. I've got full faith that we're going to win the title. Plus, the manager wants the squad to win the league and the Bristol Street Motors Trophy. So we're going all for it, and I believe we can do it. I think our player of the season will be Owen Bailey. He's been the most consistent performer in a Rovers shirt for quite some time, and I think he'll grab that award. The breakout star of the season will be George Broadbent. He had a tough time last season, but this pre-season he's shown already what he can do, and I think he'll potentially break through. And Grant McCann will 1,001,000,000% last the full season. Doncaster Rovers for the win.
Hi, this is Luke AFC here, MK Don's content creator. Of course, player of the season who I think personally could get selected for MK Dons this season, who could be up there with the candidates, is, of course, MK have brought in 11 new signings in the transfer window in the door under Mike Williamson in the 2024-2025 campaign. I think players to look out for this season for MK Dons is, of course, Liam Kelly, who we brought in from Crawley. Callum Hendry, Callum Hendry, of course, got 9 goals in 27 appearances last season, but of course, in a different team, different squad, around with loads of experienced players like the likes of Alex Gilby in the team. I think Liam Kelly is a player to really, really look out for this season. I think Lawrence Maguire, Sam Shearing, tightening up the defence this season, could actually be named probably one of the best teams of the season. And thoughts on Mike Williamson as the manager. I think Williamson's a fantastic manager. I know a lot of people criticised him last season during into the playoff places, but I think this season, the recruitment, what Liam Sweeten's been doing around the club, I think it's got fans very, very excited going into the brand new season. And I think Williamson will last throughout this whole season. And I'm topping up MK to finish in the top 3 this season.
Hi, this is Tony Robinson from Across the Pitch. We're the official international podcast of Accrington Stanley, and just a short sort of review of what we see for the upcoming season. I think there's a lot of pundits are having us down in 23rd, 24th to go down because we lost Tommy Lee and Jack Nolan. Joe Pritchard left as well, but he was injured most of the season, so it didn't have a big impact. The 25 goals that we're losing from Tommy and Jack, out of there's 10 of those from penalty kicks. So basically we got to make up 15 goals through the acquisitions from the 2 lads from Boston United, Knowles and Mooney, and Josh Woods, and a new signing, Ash Hunter. So I think it's possible. I think it's not as dire as what people say, and I'm fully confident in that we will avoid relegation with a finish of around 16th to 17th in the league. Hope we have a good season, everybody does well, and on Stanley on.
Last season was full of ups and downs for Tranmere Rovers. It started poorly with 1 win from 8 under Ian Dawes' management before he was subsequently sacked soon after. When Atkins took charge permanently, his team won 7 games out of his first 10 league games, losing only once too. Injuries to players like Norris, Walker, Davis and Turnbull left us struggling, with our backups not really being the quality necessary for the division. This season, however, Nigel Adkins has made a very balanced squad, both in quality and depth around the pitch. I wouldn't say we've got any outstanding performers, however I would say we've got a very balanced and good overall quality to the squad throughout the field. It's also worth pointing out that if any manager was to get the best out of these players, it would be Nigel Adkins, who's a motivational mastermind and has managed at the very highest level. I think that Tranmere will finish in 5th this season. I don't think they've got the pure quality to go any higher than that, but I do think that they would come through the playoffs and get promoted. We've done it before, we know how the playoffs work, 2 playoff wins in very recent history, so I'm sure that we could get through them if we got into them. As for an outstanding performer, like I said, I don't think that we really do have one. I am excited to see Luke Norris perform though. 2 bad injuries last season, so he didn't really get a shot at Tranmere Rovers, so I'm hoping that he will this season. A breakout star, I would have to say Sol Solomon. Really impressed in the National League, and I'm excited to see what he can do in League 2. overall, like I said, Nigel Adkins has got to be one of the best managers in League Two. I have full trust in him, and I think that he will do great things with the club. So I have no doubt that he would stay for the remainder of the season.
Hi Seb, I'm Dave Salmon. I am the Morecambe FC commentator for the local station Beyond Radio and also the club's streaming service I Follow Shrimps. Looking forward to the new season and of course looking forward to coming down to the Poundland Bescot Stadium for the opening day of the campaign. It soon comes round, doesn't it? We are looking forward to the season very much indeed. We've had 17 new players come through the door in the summer, and on top of that we've got huge issues off the field with our ongoing ownership situation, which doesn't look like it's going to be resolved anytime in the near future. So it's hard to say how we might do this season. We've signed a combination of some experienced league players, some that we hope can make the step up from non-league football as well, and hopefully they are all going to gel together really well. I think in terms of a finishing position, I think if we are in and around the mid-table area, then I think most Morecambe fans would be absolutely delighted with that before a ball is kicked. But with our manager, Derek Adams, back at the helm for his third spell in charge of the club, we might just see a bit of magic. You never know. Players to watch, I would say we've signed some experienced players and we had some good players in the squad already. George Ray, central defender from Barrow. He looks very solid. Callum Jones, young, loaney midfielder from Hull City. That's the second spell on loan with us. And in the final third, keep an eye on Gwion Edwards as well. He's far too good for League Two. We picked him up last year as a free agent midway through the campaign, and he is the quickest player running with a football I think I have ever seen. So he's my one to watch this season, and I think he could well end up being our player of the season. So a mid-table finish for the Shrimps this season, I will predict. But good luck to everybody, whoever you might support, and hopefully you can have a prosperous and very successful League Two campaign. All the best.
Right then, hello lads. Seb has kindly asked me to come on and give my thoughts about my team Cheltenham going into this season. Now, it's a tough one because, quite frankly, the last few months have been shite. I don't know if I can swear on this channel, so I might have to get bleeped out. But, yeah, it's been a bit of a mess, bit of a poor transfer window, but a few positive signings, it must be said. Michael Flynn can take us in the right direction if he gets the best tune out of these players. We concluded our pre-season nicely with a 2-0 win against League One opposition in Northampton Town. So fingers crossed that we can take that into Newport at home, of course Michael Flynn's ex-team, and potentially put on a decent performance and of course get 3 points on home turf. Final league position prediction for me, I can't see it being anything other than around 17th. I've said 17th for months. I don't know why that number's sticking in my head. I don't think we'll do very well this season, but we won't go down. I think it's going to be a bit of a rebuild after a lot of change. No club wants as much change as we've had this summer, and we've got it. So we don't have much of a choice. We've got to ride with it. And fingers crossed that Michael Flynn can take us in the right direction. I do think he'll last the season, mainly because I don't know who else we'd bring in. The options that are on the table, not the greatest. But yeah, player of the season, possible. I honestly, maybe Liam Dawson. I think he'll get a few goals, of course, bought in from several tiers below. But hopefully he can surprise people and have a good season. But yeah, Seb, thanks for having me on. All the best, lads, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.
Tom from Notts County Talk, giving a very quick preview of the season to come for Notts. Where do I think we'll finish? I think, for me, a failed season would be if we're not in that top 7. Especially the way we've strengthened in defence. So I think a top 7 finish. Top 3 might be out of the question. My question marks will be around Stuart Maynard as manager. I haven't seen enough from him yet to suggest we could mount a push for that top 3. Player of the season is a difficult one. I think it's got to be Jody Jones if we can keep him for the remainder of the transfer window. Now I've lost Maka, he has to be our player of the season. A ridiculous number of assists last season, and it does fill me with that little bit of confidence that yes, we have lost Langstaff, as I've just said, but at the same time, Jody can provide assists for a number of our strikers. Jata, Kevin Scott, so he should be our player of the season. And in terms of a breakthrough star, let's see. I think maybe one of our new centre-backs, possibly, although they've already got quite a bit of pedigree. Riley Reynolds, who is a central midfielder through the youth system, has currently played the most minutes in pre-season for us at the time of filming this, so you never know, he could be a central midfielder we look at. And then will our manager last the season? I'm going to say yes, but plenty would say no.
Hi everybody, Matt here from Gills in the Blood TV. I've been kindly invited on by Seb to give my thoughts on the Gills ahead of the new season. So, just going to give a quick rundown of that. Yeah, firstly, in terms of where I'm hoping we're going to finish, I have just recently done my season preview video and I've got us in 4th place at the moment. I think our recruitment's been solid throughout the summer. I still think we need to know a bit more to add some depth and numbers to the squad. I think our first 11 is probably top 7, top 3 ready, but obviously suspensions and injuries will play a part. So yeah, got us 4th at the moment, but with a little bit of flexibility to maybe, fingers crossed, jump into the top 3. In terms of who I think might be player of the year this season, there's a few more candidates, which is nice. Over the last couple of seasons, it's been defensive players or goalkeepers that have picked it up because we've been so blunt in the final third. But we've got plenty of contenders. I think the likes of Elliot Nevitt, Jack Nolan, Aaron Rowe, and even existing players like Johnny Williams may come to the fore this season. If I'm going to have to pick anyone now, I'm going to go for Jack Nolan. And in terms of someone having a breakthrough season, I've been really impressed with Jayden Clark throughout the summer games so far. He's come back, looks a completely different player. Looks to have worked really hard in the off-season. He scored 3 goals in the friendlies to date. So yeah, that would be my pick for breakthrough. And finally, in terms of Mark Bonner, the manager, obviously we never know how long a gaffer will last at a football club. But based on his experience at this level and his success with Cambridge just a few seasons ago, I think, yeah, he's going to do a good job and I'm confident he will see out the campaign.
Hello from sunny Barrow, where we go into the new season with a new manager, Stephen Clements, a new playing philosophy where apparently we're going to be more attacking and more on the front foot. So let's see how that goes. As it stands, it's all a bit of a mystery in terms of how the new management and the new players will settle in with the existing crop of players. So I'm going to plump for a 12th place finish for Barrow this season. Player of the season pick, I'll probably go for maybe an established player such as Niall Canavan. If he has a good season, the team I think will have a good season. Or even maybe one of the guys in midfield, Kean Spence or Dean Campbell, who showed last season that they've got what it takes to do well at this level. In terms of a breakout star, we've signed some young players such as Kachi Kouate from Everton and the England C goalkeeper Will Stanway. And I think if either of those guys can establish themselves in the team and play 30 games or so, then they'll have had really good seasons and will be kind of prospects for moving up the pyramid a bit more. Will our manager last the season? I think he will. I think our board of directors have said that a new manager needs patience and needs support. I think we've learnt from our first couple of seasons in the EFL where we were chopping and changing a bit too often. So I would like to think that Stephen Clements will still be in the hot seat at the end of the season, and if he is, we'll have had a decent season. So that'll do for me.
I think our season's a pretty 50-50 one personally. It's either going to result in Simo keeping his job because we have a good start to the season, because obviously he's a bit close to getting sacked, I would say, and we'll finish, I'd say, 5th, 6th-ish around there, or he'll have an absolutely shocking start. He'll get sacked and we'll probably end up bringing a new manager in, and it'll just derail our entire season. But that's the 2 possibilities of what happened. I would say that probably, from watching the Stockport game, and I don't want to overreact over a friendly, our 2 fullbacks looked unreal. So if I would say a player of the season, I'd probably say our right back, Archie Davies, he's called. He was a very, very, very good. And for a breakout star, I'd probably say it'd be Dan Abu-Ajay that we've just signed from Bournemouth, even though on loan from Bournemouth. Even though he's not our player, because if you look at our academy, there's not really much that I could see as a breakthrough star, because usually they get pre-season minutes and there's not any, except from Jake Allen that have. So I could see Dan Abu-Ajay being the breakout star, and if I was to put a place and what I predict is, I would say we finish 5th behind Port Vale, Doncaster, Gillingham and MK Dons.
Hello everybody, now Seb has kindly asked me to do a 24-25 season preview with Grimsby Town, so I'm more than happy to oblige. I think straight off the bat, I think it's a season where we need to see some sort of improvement, some sort of identity to our playing, which we didn't really see last season. Finishing 21st, I think last year was just way too close for comfort. I think we were lucky that quite a few sides, there were a couple of sides that were slightly worse than us. I know we had a little bit of a run near the end where we picked up a few results, but ultimately we looked destined for quite a lot of period of last season to make the drop. But no, we're still here, we're still kicking, we're still a Football League side. It's David Artell's first season in charge. I think you look at some of the players we have got, we're probably relying on someone like Danny Rose to get the goals again. Curtis Thompson will be big eventually, although he's missing the first few weeks of the season. Really excited by the prospect of Yasin Daddy's Van Thorson coming in from Iceland. He's looked sharp in pre-season. I think in terms of a breakout, hopefully this is Evan Corey's year. He's had a very good pre-season, probably because we've been really light on players. We've had a bit of an injury crisis. We still need about 4 or 5 more in at least, so there's still time on that. I think with David Artell in particular, I think some people have already made their minds up on him. There's certain aspects of him, myself, there's certain aspects of him I don't like, but there's also quite a bit I do. I do think some want him to fail, which I just find weird, but I think it's important we start fast, because if we don't, I think the pitchforks will be out from the start. I think it's one of those where we've got to be patient, but I think you look at it, I'll snap your hand off like a 15th, 16th position. I think as long as we can see progress from last year, I don't think, we're not going to pull up any trees, and I'd be more than happy to take that. I think we need to find our feet and be in a Football League side again, because like I said, last year was just way too close for comfort, and I don't want to drop down to the National League again, with the greatest respect. But no, we've got a tough start. Fleetwood first, but it's new season. Let's just see what happens this year. Who knows?
First of all, thank you for Seb for inviting me onto the video and picking me for the AFC Wimbledon fan to do this bit of the video. First thing you asked me, position and how we feel going into the season. I think it's a bit on and off with the fans. We started pre-season pretty well, beating Peterborough 1-0, and especially when you beat a side which is in a higher division, and you know how well Peterborough are going to do next season, and you know the type of players that they have, that's a really good start. I think the signings that we've made have been pretty decent. We still do need to strengthen the squad. I think we still need a centre-back. The left-back role has been a little bit on and off the whole season. We've been trialling out for the whole pre-season, and maybe that could be a bit of a banana skin for us. I think we'll do okay this season. I mean, it's really tough to see, because obviously we've lost so many good players. Jack Curry, Alex Bass has gone on loan to another League One club. I think Jack Curry's a massive miss for us, so that could put us in a little bit of a bad position. But pre-season's been okay. We've beaten higher teams, Peterborough, Charlton, but then we've also lost to Maidenhead and Barnet for our last 2 friendlies, so that could give the players not a lot of confidence going into the season. But I think we'll do all right. Maybe top 10. I think we could get top 10. Second thing you asked me, potential player of the season and breakout star. Interesting with player of the season, I think Matthew Stevens could do really well this season. Omar Bugle is a massive input to our squad. He just works his socks off for the whole game. But Matthew Stevens could easily get top goal scorer. Same with Omar Bugle. It's definitely going to be one of the strikers. A breakout star, probably Morgan Williams. I mean, he's been with us for quite a while. He was in the academy, and I think we've had really good luck with players coming up from the academy and doing really well. Jack Curry, Jack Rodoni, Ayub Assal has now gone to Qatar. So yeah, we've been really, really good with our academy players coming through. But I think Morgan Williams could do really well. And with manager, could our manager end the season? It's a tough one. I'm giving him about maybe until Christmas, November, because he's been on and off for the whole time we've had him. He's had really high spells, really low spells. But yeah, it really depends how we play in the first 10. If we don't do well in the first 10 games, then see you later, Johnny Jackson. But yeah, thank you for including me in this bit of the video.
So yeah, Coach United fan here. Obviously, rubbish season last year, and that's something that's followed us for God knows, 4 years now. Been fighting at the bottom. So this year, how do I think we'll do? I think we'll do a lot better. We've got a lot better managers in, let's put it that way, in the Cowley brothers, who I think will last the season, yeah. They bring with them a wealth of experience, but also that kind of collective buy-in from people. People know what they've done, they've got promotions and everything like that. So, yeah, really excited to see how they do in their first full season. Personally, I think we'll finish 12th. I've seen a lot of people tipping us for playoffs or the top half. For me, I'm going to go a little bit more conservative and say that we finish 12th. Reason for that is while we have improved, we've got a much better squad than we we did last year, in my opinion. I still feel we're a little bit short in a few areas. And obviously, it takes a while to change a losing team. So 12th would be really good. I think our breakout star will be Bradley Eovian. Really, really good young player. Been banging them in pre-season. Plays as a striker primarily, but can come off the left. And if he's like anything of our other academy products, he'll have a very good season. And our player of the year, I will probably go with Jack Payne. Obviously a very good signing, much better than kind of the league suggests. Should probably be at that top end of League Two. But I think he's going to bring obvious quality, set pieces, probably dictate the midfield with Arthur Reed, who's also a very good player. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can do this year. So I'm going to go with a 12th place finished and a much improved year for us.
I do. Yeah, so it's Danny from the One Up Front Salford City podcast. In terms of where I think Salford's finishing position might be this season, I would probably say lower mid-table. We have looked a little bit better during pre-season in the last few games, so maybe it might be a little bit higher. I do think that the younger players are going to feature a lot this season, mainly because that's the majority of our squad is made up of them. Player of the season is possibly a surprise one, I would say, is Kellyan Mai, who's been tried as a central attacking midfielder in behind a striker in the pre-season, and I think he's done really, really, really well. Great at pressing, really energetic, really fast, good creativity, and can also play as like a second striker when we're on the break. And will our manager last the season? Cal Robinson absolutely has to. In terms of, there's no reason to get rid of him. He saved us from relegation last year. He had a style of football last season because of Matt Smith being our best goal threat, being very direct. He's changed that already in pre-season massively. I think he gets on very well with the owners. The fans love him. Signings have been above average. So I think Carl will be settling into probably a long-standing project of, and if it's anything like his MK Dons days and his Oxford United stint, probably around the 4 to 5 year mark. So hopefully he's here to stay.
So I think Fleetwood will be mid-table this season. I think it's just going to be a season of stability, not anything too special going into the playoffs. Maybe next season to build on from this season. We're building a young squad. There's not much experience going into it, but that can come with pros, that can come with cons. But I think slap bang on 11th place will be where we will be at the end of the season. And player of the season will be Brendan Werdu, our best player and one of the best players in League Two. And I don't think that's going to be sounding too biased. He's up there with Jody Jones in terms of quality of player for his position. Breakthrough player, I think it's going to be Caden Hughes, centre half. He might not start the season because he's got a bit of a niggle, but he's definitely one to look out for. I think 19 or 20 years old. He's definitely impressed a few people, and Charlie Adam said he's in his plans. And talking about Charlie Adam, I think he will stay to the end of the season because he's got a backing from Jamie Pilley and he's got the supporters together, which is what the club's about. And I think he's a great manager and will do very well in League Two.
Hello everyone on Seb's channel. Now my name is Sam. I have a YouTube channel called SHD. Now I've been invited on today to give you guys some of my pre-season thoughts ahead of the upcoming 2024-25 League 2 season. Now in terms of where I think Bradford City will finish, I think we'll unfortunately just miss out on the playoffs at this moment in time. I'm going to go with 10th for the Bantams. In terms of a potential player of the season, I think it is going to be Andy Cook once again. He's looking really fit, looking really sharp as well in pre-season, scored a couple goals, and for me personally, I think he is going to win our player of the season this year. I think he's going to get at least 25 league goals this campaign. I think we're going to see very similar to Andy Cook that we saw a couple of seasons ago when we actually managed to get into the playoffs. If he gets some sort of long-term injury though, it will definitely be Alex Patterson. In terms of a breakout star, I think the very obvious answer would be Bobby Poynton, but then you could also argue that last season was his breakthrough season, so I'm not really too sure who to go with there, but for now I guess I will go with Bobby Poynton. And in terms of if I believe Graham Alexander will manage to last at the full season, it's very hard to say because we know that Bradford City have been very trigger happy in sacking managers over the last couple of seasons. I think Mark Hughes is the only one out of our last 5 or 6 managers to last more than 1 full season, which is crazy to say, but I personally would like to hope that he does get the full season. I think Alexander needs that back in. Yes, at times he's made some questionable decisions, dropped some very key plays for us at interesting times, and sometimes he has made bad decisions, but on the whole I kind of agree with a lot that Graham Alexander has gone with. I trust his ability to play nice football at Bradford City and not this tippy-tappy nonsense that we were trying to do under Mark Hughes. But I think from whenever I hear... Fuck me, sorry about this, so it's going to be a lot of editing for you to do here. I think whenever I hear Graham Alexander speak as well, I always agree with him 99.9% of the time, whether that's post-match or pre-match interviews. He doesn't try and pull the wool over your eyes as a fan base, and that's something that we really do appreciate. But they're my thoughts going in to the upcoming 2024-25 season. Fingers crossed that it's more successful than us just missing out on the playoffs. And thank you for having me on.
Hey guys, Alex here, bringing you the Swindon Town fans view and how I think we'll get on next year. We've had pretty solid summer business. We've kind of transformed the physicality and experience of the side, which has been lacking for years. So I'll say be playoff contenders. I think maybe we'll just about miss out 8th position or 9th, I'll say. Star player, Paul Glatzel, he's our best player by miles. Hopefully we don't sell him. Hopefully he doesn't get injured because he's got an injury record as well, but he's our best player. Breakout star, I hope and pray it'll be Sean McGurk, or the magical money McGurk, as I like to call him. He's very talented, very highly rated at Leeds, and we have kind of not really given him the game time last year, but if he gets the game time next year, he'll be great. So he'll be breakout star. And yeah, I think Mark Kennedy's got a good enough squad for him to keep his job. I think he's kind of a fine appointment. He talks well, so yeah, think we'll have a good season. Up the Swin, let's go.